Alrighty, let's get working on this next episode tutorial. So this is the 11th video where we are going over the area-based camera. So what we've got so far is we've got our player. He can run, jump, climb stuff, wall climb. I always forget that, yes, our character does indeed have a dash. I always forget that we add that. And so what we're going to do today is add a camera that is confined to an area. And we're going to test that by opening up our world and doing some stuff with that. So if we go to tiles, and let's just flood this whole area. And then we're going to erase that, and then just open it up into a room up there. And I really should go over auto tiling, but I haven't set that up yet, so we're just going to ignore that for now. And then, just for more testing purposes, we'll expand the world down here. Make it so you have to go this way. And then, we can just open this into like a new area here. Symmetry wise, let's just fill all this in because otherwise it's going to bother me. Can do a room here, and this one's got like an outgoing here, and then we can have a more vertical room. Actually, let's extend it this way a little more. Now we'll have like a vertical shaft, and that'll spit us into a room right here. Cool. Yeah, so without proper auto tiling, this is going to kind of be frustrating to tile. So I'm not going to put all the corners in, but we are going to put these outlines in so that we at least know what we're dealing with. Let's do this wall next. Forgot this one right here. Okay, now we'll do this wall. And yeah, we're just flying through this because this tutorial is not about how to tile stuff. It's about making an area-based camera that a lot of people have been looking forward to. I've been wanting to make it for a while. It's just sequence-wise, it just seemed like it should come now. Now that we've already got some advanced features in, now seems like a good time to implement it. So we're going to go ahead and implement it. Alrighty, so that's kind of trash, but that works. And then a gap of 3, starting at 3. So we'll make it so the player can just, get back up by wall jumping all of that. We'll even give them a little platform to work with. We'll add that one in. And then I'm literally just going to spam platforms in here that we can hopefully jump around on because the focus of this video is other things. Yeah, and I don't even know if these are going to work. I'm literally just adding these so the player can get around. Okay, let's just test and see what this world looks like real quick. So yeah, perfect. Okay, we can wall climb up that. Nice. Let's dash down over here. Wow, this is a really big room. Grab that ledge, fall, grab that ledge. Okay, yeah, so those are kind of spaced out a little more awkward, but I mean, between just like wall jumping and dashing, we can get through there. Fall down here. And I'm assuming this is going to be the same, yeah. Those are well spaced. And so that's all going to work just fine. And then this is the entirely wall jump room. Perfect. Okay, cool. So everything works there. We can get around that whole map. Okay, so now we just need to implement camera-based stuff. So, let's see, player, give ourselves some room here. An entity, let's create a new folder and call it dynamic camera. And then we're going to create a scene first called camera zone with an M, not a comma. And this is going to inherit from Area 2D, I think, is the way it's going to work. You know, we're making this up while we go, so we might have to fine tune some things and fidget some other things. So, okay, so camera zone, attach a script called camera zone. Yeah, class name camera zone. And then this is going to be a tool script. And then we're also going to drag in a. Actually, no, I think I already have it in here. Yeah, I do. Okay. So I already have it implemented into my project. It's this camera 2D area icon. So you can actually set the icon for like a specific class by just putting at icon and then putting the resource link in there. And what it is just the Godot camera with like a border around it, so it shows that it's the zone for the camera. Cool. And now we're gonna have an onReady, and we're gonna call this region of type collision shape. So collision shape 2D, perfect. We actually need to add the collision shape, so let's add that real quick. And we're going to call this region, or we'll call it zone because this is the camera zone. That makes much more sense, doesn't it? And it's going to be equal to zone. And then we're going to have an export variable called zone dimensions of type vector2i. And we're going to default it to vector2i 640 by 360, which is just our camera, like view size. Because generally, we're going to scale our area based on that. So now we are going to create a function called resize zone, because this is a tool script, remember? So let's define that. So function resize zone, and this is literally just going to be the same as our like collision shape for moving platforms. So we're going to say if zone dimensions exists. Nope. There we go. And then we're going to say if zone dot shape is rectangle shape 2D. That one. Perfect. And then we're going to say zone dot shape dot extents is equal to zone dimensions divided by 2. So zone dimensions divided by 2. And then, I mean, for error checking, we can say else print error unsupported camera zone shape. And then, once again, else print error camera zone dimensions is null. Cool. That's all there. Alrighty. So that should be the camera zone. I'm going to set my debug color to... Everything's blue in Godot. Let's go green. Let's go a little more like neon green. Yeah. Okay, so now if we go to our world, we go to 2D. Let's add a new child node. And we're going to call this camera zones. And these can literally be anywhere, it doesn't matter, so we'll just put them right there for now. And let's add, where's dynamic camera zone? So let's add a camera zone scene. Dimension 640 by 360, perfect. Let's save that. And now if I open world back up, that is not showing the size. Oh, this always happens and it is infuriating. Let's actually do that because we have to set that. And then this needs to be local to scene. Let's save that. Cool. Okay, so now that shows up. So now if we go to world, okay, perfect. There we go. So there's the camera zone. So, this is like zone 1. So we can set that there. I'll set that under there. And then let's drag in another zone. Nope, can't drag in a script, but yes, we can grab in that. And I'm actually going to overlap them and see how that works in a second. So there's zone 2, but we're going to make this, how big is that? Probably 4 times that. So math 2,560 by 36, 720, 1480? No, 1440. Okay, so now if I reload that, yep, okay, so that's there. That is way too big. I don't know what I was thinking. 1080 over 720. Okay, so now I wonder if I can manually. That's moving it. Can I scale this? Yeah, I can. Nope. Let's move it now. Ooh, okay. Let's widen it and then heighten it to like there. Cool. Let's add this one in here. Let's add a new camera zone. And Put that one there. Add a new camera zone. Put that one there. Yeah. Put this camera zone here. And this one we're literally just gonna heighten. Yep, that's what we wanted to do. It's like the default. Okay, so we are at the default. Cool. And then one more camera zone. Okay, so like those are our camera zones, and we can hide those while we're like making the map. That doesn't matter. But now we can at least see where all the zones are and how they overlap. Alrighty, so now we just need to make the actual like camera that follows the player. So I'm gonna make a new folder, call this camera zone, and I'm just gonna move those in real quick, and then create the new folder, call it dynamic camera. Coolio, add a scene in here, and we'll call this one the actual dynamic camera. And this one we are going to have extend camera 2D, and we'll call it dynamic camera. So things we want to do here, I'm just going to default this to 2 because why not? Those limits, smoothing on, position smoothing speed 5, cool, disable that, drag horizontal on, and we can edit all these properties as needed. Underneath here, we're going to add a child node called area 2D, and under that, we're going to add a collision shape 2D. We're going to call the area, we're going to call it trigger, and then we're going to call this shape. This is just going to be a rectangular shape. Set it to kind of a green, but we're going to go darker for this one and a little less. Yeah, we'll go like that. That looks good. Okay. And what we need to do, so we're gonna on ready that, and we're gonna on ready shape. So I haven't been explaining a whole lot what's going on, so I'll explain what's going on now. So the way this works is camera zone. We have a zone, right, and we're just resizing it to be the size of the shape that's defined, and then we can manually input the shape, but we can also edit it how like you saw we did in our world scene, which is right here. How we have the camera zones, we did that. So that's literally just an area 2D. The dynamic camera is a camera with an area 2D attached. Why? Because we're going to need an area to detect when we've entered new areas. And so all we're literally going to do is we're going to go into our area 2D node, and on area entered, we're going to connect that signal, get that area 2D, and we're basically just going to get the size of the camera zone we're in and set the bounds of the camera to that zone. And that's what locks the camera in. So like literally what we're going to say is we're going to say if area.getParent is camera zone 2D, we just call it camera zone. We'll leave it. Actually, let's switch it to, yeah, we'll leave it like that. And we'll call this class name dynamic camera. We'll call it 2D. It should be 2D because Godot has 2D and 3D. Let's go to camera zone. And we'll do that real quick. And we'll rename this to 2D. We'll leave that. We really should change it, but I'm going to be lazy. And the real video that I actually like put on YouTube, like the actual tutorial, we'll name them properly. So what we're going to say is variable zone is equal to area.get. Let's be a good programmer. Let's put that up here, and then we're going to say if zone. So area.getParent. Cool. Yep, so now we're going to say limit bottom is equal to zone.shape.extent.y, not quite, area.global position plus zone.shape.extents.y. And that's why that's giving us an error. And that's why that's giving us an error. Perfect. So remember, the bottom is the bottom, so we're going down in the y direction. This is going to be our top, and it's going to be minus. This is going to be our right. This needs to be y. That's an x, switch that to an x, switch that to an x. That's an x, that's a minus. That's not working, that's a left. Okay. So there we have it. That should work now. I hope. So if we delete the camera and now add a new camera, a dynamic camera, might I say. Dynamic camera 2D. Ooh, interesting. And then we run the game. Nothing works. Cool. I wonder why. Let's print right here. Actually, let's only print if we're in a camera zone. Print entered a new camera zone. Save that. To limit smooth is on, enabled. Horizontal is on. Oh, you know what? I think it's because we don't. I don't think we need to get parent. No, that's still not working. Let's turn our debug shapes on. Those are invisible, right? Yeah, gotta make those visible. Okay, there we go. Yeah, see, because the camera should stop like right there. Are we getting that message of entering a new camera zone? No. Okay. Let's do a little debug. Area entered. Okay, so we're not getting any collisions from the dynamic camera. Where's dynamic camera? There it is. I am much confusion. Yeah, because it's not triggering anything collision. I mean, we haven't messed with those, so. Because the fact that this isn't printing tells us that it's not even triggering that we're going into an area. Okay, camera zone. Okay, let's go to our world. I'm actually going to move the camera zones back. No, we want it in front of tiles. We can actually put it there. We want the player to be on top, though. Yep, there's the dynamic camera. Let's change this into a tool script real quick. Just because I want to see if we're actually getting the... Yeah, that's fine. Okay, so I think this is our issue right here. I think there's a bug or an issue that you can't attach other things to a camera 2D. I was kind of fidgeting around with something similar to this not too long ago, and I kept running into that issue too. And I was like, that makes no sense. I feel like you should be able to do that. But it was like wigging out. Yeah, see, it's just not even registering for the dynamic camera. So uh, let's do this. Let's make that a node 2D, and then we'll add a camera within here. And then add a reference to the camera, and we'll call it camera. And say camera dot. Let's reload our player. Now let's see what happens. No siree, that is not working. Love Godot so much. Yeah, see, that's the error I was getting. Okay, watch this. If I completely delete everything that's in here, like Gonzo's, and then we do a new scene, and now we'll actually call it dynamic camera 2D will be proper now. If I set it to a node 2D, hit OK, make that a capital, attach a script. Probably should have kept that code, shouldn't I? That would have been smart. We didn't do that though. And now if I add a camera and an area and a collider to that, and we say rectangle, and we give you a dark green, and we make you local to scene, and then we go into here and we say bada bing, bada boom. Let's get this in here. We'll call this collider area camera, and then we go to our area entered. Yep, connect all that, and we're just gonna print area entered. Let's get some information first. Okay, so now if we do that, delete, don't save, close, player, dynamic camera, delete you because you shouldn't exist. Now we can add. Did I seriously just, I think I just put that script on there. That's funny. Okay, we're good. Dynamic camera. Okay, so yeah, so now that camera area is there, cool. And now that's, we don't really care about what's going on here. We can just resize this if we want though, just because why not? You probably want to resize it in all honesty to be like the size of your player. That's fine. That works for me. Okay, so now if we run it. Okay, see, so now we can see down here, I literally just point on the screen with my finger, but you guys can't see that. Area entered, camera zone. So now we know it's a camera zone. That's working. See, new area entered. Cool. Okay, now it's working. So now if we go into the camera, and now we can zoom to twice, position smoothing, that, and horizontal drag. Now if we run it, okay, yep, there we go. So that's that. Nice. That signal fired, right? Cool. All right. I don't know why you can't attach stuff to a camera. Honestly, that makes no sense. I feel like you should be able to, but I guess there's a weird bug going on with that. I'll have to look online, and if I don't find anything, maybe I'll put that on the Godot docs issues. Okay, so now we say if area is camera zone 2D, we can say camera dot. So remember, it's camera dot limit bottom is equal to the area dot global position dot y plus area dot shape dot extents x tense dot y, and then do this 4 times, except for this is now going to be top right left minus, that's going to be a minus x x x x, save, play. Broken. And that's key shape on area 2D. Okay, so that's a camera zone issue. We might need to do that. There we go. That looks better. Okay, yep, see how the edge, we locked on that edge, and now we run over here, and interesting. Okay, so I wonder if that's because they're overlapping. Oh yeah, look at that. I can play games blindfolded. Interesting. Okay, let's figure out why it's doing that. Because like in my mind, when I saw the overlapping, I was like, oh, that's gonna be great, like then there's some overlap between the two zones, but maybe that's a bad idea that we just found out was a bad idea. All right, now let's see what happens. So we're shifting way over there when the player's up over here and still we still should be able to see the player. Weird. What did we do wrong? Let's go dynamic camera. The right is positioned at X plus the left is positioned at X minus. Top left minus I am confused because I've done something similar before and it has worked flawlessly. Okay, so it's not getting that edge correctly. See how we're locking out right there? I wonder if it has to do with the fact that we've scaled these in the world instead of actually hard setting the sizes. Yeah, I bet you that's what it is. Um, two changes. Scale, yeah, because we were scaling it. Okay, so we need to make an adjustment here then. So in camera zone, in the ready, we also need, let's add another function, let's see how this works. Func update scaled size, which will be void, and we'll just say zone dimensions equals zone dimensions times, now we need to get the zone dot scale. Actually, we can just do it like that because that's a vector 2. Okay, that's not happy with us. Why not? That's a vector 2i, and that's a vector 2. Let's typecast this. Oh no, we can't typecast that though. Let's see if this solves our problem. Yay. Okay. Oh gosh, no. No, that did not work. Oh, that probably because we didn't call it here. Grody. Still didn't work. Negatory. Let's print the zone dimensions and see what happens. Because this is camera zone. Dot scale. Yes. Yeah. Okay. We're coding that wrong. I don't think we need that there. Because it's the scale of the actual node itself, I think, is what is scaling. No, that has now broken everything. This extends an area 2D camera zone. Extends an area 2D. Transform. Yeah, but see, those are all coming up as 0, 0, the scales. Um, um, um. Hmm. What? Let's see. Let's think this. So that does it to that. But then on ready, we need to get this scale because we scaled them in the editor right here. Because that's our scale boy. Rotate. Okay, we're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure this out. Yeah, see, oh, that's right, because this is a tool. I forgot this is a tool script. That's why it's going haywire. See, but now it's resetting. Yeah, see, now none of the zones are showing. Oh, but we were so close to working, and now you don't want to work. Oh, that might be why. Yeah, see, if we look at now, the zone dimensions aren't. Now those aren't. Because those should be defaulting. Right? Export, resize zone, zone dimensions. Hmm. Okay, well, there's something we can do real quick. Don't know if I've shown this. Yeah, so see, it's showing that right there, that those are the right dimensions. We have a transform. Oh, it's completely ruined that. Oh, that's wunderbar, wonderful. Oh, this is camera zone 1. Okay, you need to go right there. Camera zone 2 is what we're looking at. 640, tab 360. I think we were editing. Okay, yeah, so there's that one. Okay, so 1.47 and 1.14 times 1.47, enter, times 1.14, enter. You can actually do multiplication and division like that in Godot. And we're actually going to try overlapping this now. Okay, so we need to make it 1200 by about 600. I don't know why it's not updating in the moment. That's honestly kind of frustrating. Oh, look at that. We almost nailed that. Okay, so now let's play. So we're in this zone. And it's still snapping over here. Why? Yeah, because the zone dimensions are getting printed properly. Camera zone. Dynamic camera. Bottom is the Y. So it's this left one though that's not getting it right. It's the global position dot X minus the area dot shape dot extents dot X. Okay, let's print new zone dimension. New zone center at area dot global position, correct? And then dimensions area dot zone dot shape dot extents is what we actually want. Yeah, so this is right. This should be half, right? Because it's 640 by 180. Okay, so what? Let's look at this edge we're getting. I'm going to move this off screen, and we're going to come to our world. So we are at roughly just over 1500 and somewhere below. Yeah, so just over 1500 and just below 300. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. So 1500 minus 600 should put us in the 900 range, which is right there. Okay. Okay, so this I think the shape is updating too big. Because based on the math of the dimensions, I think we did something wrong. Zone shape that extends equals zone dimensions divided by 2. Okay, let's print one more thing. In our dynamic camera, dimensions, zone. Okay. Okay, that checks out. That checks out. Oh, you know what it might be? Hold on a second. Uh, that's it. Yep, it was scaled still. Okay, yeah. So this needs to be like 1800. I honestly still don't know how to reload this without like refreshing it. Okay, that's much better. And now let's do 900, not 9000. Okay, cool. So now let's go to the third one. And we'll do this one 640 by 360. Save. Reload it. Way too small. So let's do 12. Let's do 1000 by 800. New. There we go. That's probably too big, but we'll deal with it. Okay, this one I actually like that. 1000 by 800. Why is that so big? Because we did not reset the scale. Perfect. This one, we can keep that. We don't want that. 640 by 1200. Reload it. Okay, and then this last one. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Maybe in the future I'll be able to figure out where I'll be able to pull the scale from the editor and how we've done it in the editor. That's a little too small. I might finagle around with that a little bit. That's too tall. All right, now let's try it. Okay, yeah, so now this is working exactly how we want it to. Okay, so we need to nudge this last one down a wee bit. And I actually don't want to run all the way over there. Okay, so now those are working. Let's go to camera zone and let's do something. So in process, let's do if editor or in engine.is editor hint. If engine is editor hint print scale and let's do if input.is and let's do our dash button because I don't want to deal with other stuff. I forgot it wigs out when there's inputs in tool scripts. And then just for whatever sake var flag equals false if engine is a hint and not flag equals true. There. Okay, so now I want to mess with one of them because I want to see if this will work. So let's do zone 6. Let's scale it now. Okay, cool. It did. So it did get that scale. So let's do some more finagling here and see if we can get that to work how we want it to. Let's go to scripts. Let's create a new variable and we'll call it editor scale of type vector2. It's going to equal vector2 dot 0. Actually, hold on. I wish there's a way we could just like click on the area 2D and then just manually edit the area 2D. I mean, like you could attach an area, a collision shape to all of these. That's actually not a bad idea. That's actually not a bad idea. Let's try that. Let's try that. We might end up regretting this decision, but we're going to try that. Let's delete it. And let's change this to an export. And then in this zone.shape, rectangle shape. Okay, we're breaking stuff, people. We're breaking stuff. Yeah, okay, all of our areas are gone. Okay, cool. Cool. Yep. So now let's add a child node called a collision shape. We'll change the color. Collision shape 2D. And now we can just manually, like I want this to extend up to there, down to there to get some more buffer room, over to there, to about right there. Let's snag this color. Now let's go into our camera zone, go to our script, and say there, or this is going to be constant actually, constant debug color equals hold on, it's gonna yell at us for a second. That's the hex. RGB is 61, 162, 6. 61, 62, 6. Color dot color. What is it? From RGB color dot. No. Color 8. 0.23.6. Okay, I think color 8 is what we want. Yeah. Okay, and so we can do RGBs, it looks like, or like fractals or whatever, variable decimals, that stuff. 61, 162, 6. 62, 161, 6. 62, 161, 6. And then we say zone debug color equals debug color. Let's get rid of that. Pass here. Save. Go back to our world here. Okay. Nice. Add one here. It's over here. Cool. I actually think I like this method better, where we can just kind of manually drag around. Let's give that some buffer zone. Yeah, I think this is much smoother than what we were doing, where like weird reshaping and whatnot. Um, and the colors being, that's actually, we drug that the wrong way. The one issue with this is that you do have to ensure that like it's like wide enough. But yeah, no, this method's far superior than what we were doing before. What we were doing before was worked, but was kind of annoying. This is good. Good idea, Bills. Good idea. Good rework. Good job, team. Let's go. Okay. So now if I close this and reload it, I wonder if they go green now. This doesn't have to be a tool anymore. Stop being a tool. Okay, we can get rid of you. We don't want that. That's fine. Yeah. Actually, no. We do want that to be a tool if we want these to reload green, which they should. They don't. That's okay. Not the end of the world. We can deal with that. Now let's make sure it still works. Yes, we broke it. We don't need this function anymore. Bye bye that function. Unnecessary. Broken again. Everything is broken. Okay, yeah, so now after we add the shapes, it's critical that we assign the proper shape to this is zone 3 shape, zone 4 shape, zone 5 shape, zone 6 shape. Yay! Oh, that's gross. Did I accidentally put that there? Hold on. No, this one's scaled. No, that one's not scaled. Hold on. Delete. Yeah, get rid of you. You were grody to begin with. Please don't tell me we're dealing with this bug again. That's going to crash because we didn't define that. Technically, we could just be like get child in position 0. Interesting. Okay, so look at this one sets us right to that left edge. When it shouldn't. We should. Okay, so now there's some weird stuff going on here. Okay, weird stuff, weird stuff. Because look at, as soon as we enter this, we're still seeing the outside of it. Camera zone. Yes, script. There we go. Dynamic camera. Okay. Dimensions. Zone that shape that extends area dimensions. Zone. So this other one should be at 1505 minus 765. So let's do some math. So 1505 minus 765, right? So at 740 is where we should be seeing it. Right? 740. Let's go in here. This edge is not okay, yeah, see 740 is like right here. But the actual edge is over here. So that dimension is larger than it should be. Okay, so we're not getting the proper dimensions. I wonder why. Let's try this. Let's try zone dimensions equals zone dot shape dot extents. And let's see what happens now. Okay, so this one is dimensions 407. Okay, so let's quit that. And let's go to this shape. And let's see what the shape is. It's 814 over 392. Okay, that's correct. Zone center. Transform is 65, 96. Oh. 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 Okay, that's what's happening. We're off right here, see? So this shape doesn't stay anchored to the center. Okay. Okay, I think I know how to fix this now. Dynamic camera area dot zone dot global dot position. Okay. Sorry, I had to answer some texts real quick, so I got quiet. Okay. I think that may have fixed it. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay, yeah, so it was because when we reshape it, I forgot that we totally have that like double right there. That's funny. It was moving it off center from the center of that. So now we just do it based on the center of the shape, so we don't really care where the actual like area node is. It's all based on the collision shape that we add. So now, yep, see, this is all working fantastic. Oh, okay, bug. Okay, that just has to do with the nature of where that's placed, where this is placed. If we just extend that down, then we shouldn't have that issue anymore. Okay, so let's go test that. Hit the right button to wall jump, Bills. Okay, yeah. So that just has to do with where we had placed it. The character was like reaching their peak and then falling back into the last zone, and we weren't re-entering the zone, so it was kind of triggering that. So yeah. So the last thing that we want to do, actually, I was thinking about adding a tween um, to make the transition smooth, but with the position smoothing and everything, it's honestly smooth. So I don't think we're going to add the tween. I think we're just going to leave it at that. Camera zones, simple. Um, Now, one thing I will show here, and I'll probably show in the video too, is we have these zones. They're beautiful. What we can do is we can come here and then lock. So now we can't. Oh, whoops! I thought we weren't able to do that once we've locked that. Hold on a second. Okay. Lock, 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 lock. That's still in there. Okay, so I have to lock that too. Okay, yeah. So it looks like you have to kind of lock it all individually, which is kind of annoying. But once you've done that, just go through and lock all of these. The collision shapes more than anything. So lock them, and then now you can't edit them. They're there, and then you can just forget about them. So now the camera zones are there. But yeah, there we have it. Camera zones behind the scenes. You guys get to see how we implement this. I hope you enjoyed it, and as always, like, comment, subscribe, share. If you want the shorter version, watch the real video where we just show how to implement it. This is behind the scenes where you get to see kind of how I approach development. I think it's useful because it shows how to think about coding, how to debug, all of that. Wonderful skills to have. But I hope you enjoy and see you guys in the next one.